Objection! And here I was, thinking I was finally done with Make Your Mark. Oh well, here we go again. So despite reviewing all 6 chapters of Make Your Mark, it's fascinating I still have stuff to discuss. Something I really didn't touch too much on while looking back at the show, yet still continues to baffle me, is today's subject, which is the night market. I sound like a broken record at this point, but this place makes no sense, and it's hard to know where to start. Now, as a concept, it is an interesting idea. A mystical, hidden market that's only open at certain times, headed by long-forgotten creatures that sell wares, leading to interesting or extraordinary finds. A neat idea, but poorly executed. And I guess we'll start off talking about the Breezies depiction in G5, and how the production staff pretty much got every single thing wrong with them. If you'll recall, in It Ain't Easy Being Breezies, said creatures were shown to be relatively weak flyers, and with only the aid of Breeze does it actually help them travel outside of their realm. But along with that, it also activates their magic to protect their pollen. Hell, a stray leaf was enough to cut them completely off from their flight path. And yet, these Breezies can now fly perfectly fine and independent of the wind, all the while carrying objects that are quite heavy, especially given their size. We even see some Breezies outpacing ponies in terms of speed and agility, when originally they flew rather slow and gentle. G5 completely neglects the idea behind the Breezies, i.e., breeze. They no longer need to in or out of their own realm anymore. You took away the one defining trait the creatures had and just diminished their design into tiny, fast-talking ponies with butterfly wings. Speaking of their voices,
these two say they haven't seen other ponies for a long time.
You know Breezy language too?
It's our pony language, but at too high of a speed for most to understand them.
Objection! Breezies have their own language. It's not just regular equestrian talk sped up. Yes, like in G4, the Breezies spoke in a rather unintelligible manner, but it was their own native language. Seabreeze could communicate in his native Breezy language and modern equestrian.
You must be so proud. And you speak my language too? I can. This lot can only understand you. Clearly, they're not the brightest bunch around.
What an asshole! How do you screw this up? Did they forget the lore that was already established? And keep in mind, G5 is supposed to be a sequel, so therefore the show creators should know about their manner of speaking as an actual language and not just speeding up and pitching up their voice. Now, I will say the one thing that G5 did right about the Breezies is the fact when flying in place, they do actually flutter their wings to maintain hovering, whereas in G4, they kind of just weirdly floated with little or no flapping. So back to the night market itself, which is some kind of pocket dimension that exists within the Bridalwood wishing tree. Okay, fine. But then the gang talks to the Breezies and we learn how long it's been since they've seen ponies.
We haven't seen new friends for hundreds of moons!
So they haven't seen ponies for generations, therefore haven't ventured outside the wishing tree themselves, which implies that the Breezies have been living essentially trapped in this pocket dimension all this time. How have they survived? Okay, there's shelter and plants around for pollen, but what about water? Seabreeze's home was based around water, but the night market looks like it just spirals up into more flora and fauna. And even then, it's possible that such crucial items would eventually run out. Is this place completely independent of seasons? Like winter doesn't affect the inside? I don't know. Oh, and remember that dialogue about when the market opens?
When does this mystical magical market come back?
She says, you never know.
And that's another thing. How can they run such an economy if the market just opens when it feels like it? Now, yes, the Breezies aren't apt in modern technology as we've seen them messing around with Pip's phone, but how can they run such a place where no pony knows when it's gonna open next? How do they inform the public? If there's a famine or shortage of critical supplies, they'd better hope their own market opens up soon, or they'll all be dead. Imagine if a store that's completely packed with customers suddenly just closed and locked the doors. Attention shoppers, the market is now closed. Those trapped inside will be prosecuted for trespassing to the full extent of the law or fed to the local wolves. Thank you for shopping at Bullshit Mart and have a lovely day. Something else that bothered me about the market is the layout of the place. Aesthetically, it looks fine, conforming their homes and stalls with the natural growth of the tree. But again, these Breezies haven't interacted with ponies for a vague number of generations, which at first doesn't seem like a problem. But look at the night market itself. Do you see what I'm talking about? Look at the stalls. They're gigantic for a Breezy. If they've only been bartering goods with each other for years now, shouldn't that mean they would have considerably smaller stalls? Also, I've already talked about the contrived nature of the items sold here, like the one-use key and Megan's rainbow locket, which are problems of their own, but this leads to a rather odd quirk that's been given to the Breezies. That being, they are kind of omnipotent. A random Breezy comes out of nowhere and coincidentally knows that Misty has some personal quest and conveniently gives her something that could solve her issue. Or that other random Breezy that knows that Sunny is the chosen one and gives her a mysterious locket. By the way, would love to know why Megan would sell such a powerful artifact. Did she pawn it off to pay some bills? Owed some money to the Canterlot Mafia? Either way, the whole thing's stupid. And even forgetting the plot devices, a lot of the items being sold here, again, don't make sense. What Breezies were strong enough to bring in these giant pots and objects? And where did they come from if they've only been essentially living in this pocket dimension all this time? Or are all these large items just left over from ages ago when ponies attended the night market?
In these stalls, there are magical items and secrets that have been lost to your pony kind for generations.
Alright, but even if that was the case, why would ponies acquire and sell certain items here? The biggest and most questionable offender of items being sold here is the mold of the dragon footprint. Who the hell went to the Isle of Scaly, an island that is not easy to get to, saw a dragon print, happened to have supplies to make a plaster cast mold of it, drag the heavy object all the way back to the mainland, and sell it here of all places, and was also lucky enough when it happened to be open? Or even if the mold was taken anywhere else in Equestria, why would they take it to the night market? If it's not the weight of the objects, it's the plot convenience of the magical artifacts being sold here that make this whole place just wrong. And that's about it. So yeah, the night market, much like the rest of Make Your Mark, is a confusing mess. If there are any other interesting observations you guys noticed about the Breezies or the night market, let me know in the comments below. Well, that's it for today, guys. Until next time, MC out!